The purpose of today's video is to kind of get you guys familiar with the Falcons' new starter, Michael Penix. What is going to change with him at quarterback from a schematic standpoint to a play calling standpoint to even a personnel standpoint? Because I do think there are going to be some changes made with Penix under center instead of Kirk Cousins. The first change I could see being made is there is no more statue quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons offensive line to protect and for the ground game to try and overcome. I know that second part might not feel like it's super attached to the quarterback, but believe me, it is. So Next Gen Stats had these numbers, and don't ask me where they get them, but we'll just take their word for it. And they said that Kirk Cousins stayed in the pocket 99.4% of the time. Obviously, the most in the NFL. And I don't even feel the need to fact check this because just run through the last 14 weeks in your head. Have we ever seen Kirk stand in the pocket, feel pressure, and bail out to the right? No, of course not. His scramble rate is 2.2%, right? These are undesigned runs by the quarterback. It's tied for the least amount in the National Football League. So no surprise here that Kirk Cousins has been a statue in the pocket when he's dropping back to pass. But it's not just in the passing game. I was rewatching the Raiders game in the All-22, and I noticed that every time, and every's a little bit of an exaggeration, but a lot of the time, when he goes to give the handoff in the pistol, he is running for his life to keep up with the running back who wants to go full speed as soon as the whistle is blown. And it just feels like Kirk is holding back not just the passing game because he's always a statue in the pocket. He can't get out of it to extend plays or anything like that. He is holding back the running game because he is dying to get to the running back. They can't put him under center to do a handoff to a running back. It's always one of these two things. It's always a pitch if he's under center, or he is in pistol when they want to run it. What does that mean? Basically means it's the most predictable thing for a defense over the course of a season, and especially during the game over the course of 4 quarters. Hey, Kirk's under center. It's going to be a pitch to the running back. Kirk's in the pistol. It's going to be a run. The Falcons have used pistol over 35% of the time. That is top 5 across the National Football League, not just for this season, but for nearly the last decade, for all 32 teams in every single season. Their offense has become predictable. It's become stale. It's become difficult for Zach Robinson to do his job because everyone knows what's coming because he can't do anything about it because he does not have a quarterback who can even just get under center and seem to just execute a basic handoff because he has no mobility. Everything is predictable. So simply put, Michael Penix is not going to go in there and run around like Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson. That is not his play style. That is not his profile. But what he does have is 2 functional legs. Like, he can move around. He can extend plays. He can climb up in the pocket. He can bail out, move to the left, move to the right. And that's going to open up the playbook because now you don't have to have every single run come out of pistol because Kirk Cousins under center can't get to a running back in time. You don't do a pitch every single time you do want to put Kirk under center. You have much more flexibility and way more options. The playbook just doubled for Zach Robinson. Now that he's not hamstringed by Kirk Cousins because Michael Penix just has basic mobility in his legs, which is pretty crazy to say given his injury history in both of his legs. So the big change that I think we're going to see with Penix under center or starting when it comes to no longer having a statue quarterback, for one, the offensive line just had a little bit of a sigh of relief. Like, sure, Penix maybe will hold on to the ball for too long and there'll be some rookie mistakes, but the offensive line with Kirk Cousins knew if this guy gets around me just in the slightest, there will be no assistance from Kirk to spin out of a tackle or run out of the pocket. There's none of that. So a lot of less pressure on the O-line. And then the ability to utilize more functions. You can do bootlegs now, right? You can bring in all these new wrinkles that you couldn't do under Cousins. Now, the pinned comment on today's episode, before we get on to the rest of it, give me your prediction for who catches the first touchdown pass from Michael Penix. I kind of want to go chalk and say Drake London. He's got 7 on the year. But maybe we go with a Kyle Pitts. Maybe we get a Kyle Pitts rarity red zone touchdown. I don't know. Call me crazy. But let me know who you think scores the first touchdown for Penix. Second change I could see being made, effective play action. Rewind, I should say, a few weeks ago, going into the bye week, we put out a video about changes I would like to see the Atlanta Falcons make. And one of them was use more play action. And then the first press conference following the bye week, Raheem Morris said, we plan to use more play action. That's what Kirk Cousins did for so long in Minnesota. It was his bread and butter. But the Raiders game was an eye-opening moment for me, and maybe I'm just late to the party, but they really couldn't use play action because no one was afraid of Kirk Cousins rolling out. I mean, think about just the nuts and bolts of play action. As a linebacker, you're watching the play and you're thinking, all right, run, run, run. No, it's a pass. I got to bail out. Well, no one's afraid of the pass because Kirk Cousins is going to stick his right hand out and then pull off a big left turn and roll out to the right and get out of the tackle zone, get out of the pocket, and deliver a strike down the field. As a defender, it became so simple. Like, sell out for the run, and if it happens to be a pass, that's all right. Kirk's not going anywhere. We got all time in the world to get back to our usual spot, to start going on the decline and get back in coverage, because he's not going to roll out to the right and maybe turn the corner and run for the first down. That's not an issue, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you think about it, like, just close your eyes and envision Kirk Cousins under center, and he takes the snap, and he puts his hand out for Bijan to run off of Jake Matthews on the left side. Whoever is the linebacker and the defender on the back side, meaning like right in front of Kaleb McGary, right, the other side of the play, they can crash across the field because they're not concerned about concerned about Cousins pulling the ball back and then rolling out the opposite direction and taking advantage of that. I mean, here's a good illustration of it. One, look at Cousins on this play. He is reaching out for his life to get this ball to Tyler Algier. Guys, he was in pistol. This is kind of borderline crime to make Cousins do this. People laughed at me when I said feeble yesterday. This is what I'm talking about, feeble. But look at the defenders on the left side of the picture. They can just run across the field because there's no concern in the world about this being a play action and Cousins then rolling to the left. Nope. They know he can't do it, so they're not going to have him do it. No one fears him doing that. With Penix, that's a different ballgame. Michael Penix last year at Washington, according to Pro Football Focus, here were his stats in play action. 73% completion, 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was one of the best play-action quarterbacks in all of FBS last year. He is not this crazy mobile quarterback, but the Falcons' offense doesn't need him to be one. They just need someone who can at least keep the defenders honest. So the change we could see with a more effective play-action game, because linebackers are not concerned about Cousins pulling it back and holding on to it, is they're not going to sell out for the run anymore. I mean, it's actually pretty impressive when you think about it, not only what Bijan's been able to do this year, but what he's been able to do, knowing that every time the ball gets extended out to him, no one in the world is thinking this is going to be play action. And if it is a play action, that's fine. Kirk's not going to beat us anyway. The guy has cinder block for feet. So this will be a very big uptick for Algier and Robinson, in my opinion, with Penix effectively running play action. Before we get on to the rest of today's episode, quick shout out to our friends over at Factor. Notice how the days are shorter, but your to-do lists aren't? Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner and anything in between, Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add to your box, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. There's no sacrificing quality for convenience with Factor. Weekly menus offer ways to treat yourself to a restaurant-quality meal experience with gourmet plus dishes that feature premium proteins and seasonal sides. Use your time more effectively. So important during the holiday time. Let Factor take care of shopping, prepping, cooking, and cleaning off your daily list of things to do. Head to factormeals.com/50FalconsChat and use code 50FalconsChat to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50FalconsChat at factormeals.com/50FalconsChat to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active. All that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Another change I could see being made, but not a guarantee, like more so the first two here. Do you switch your left and right tackle, Kaleb McGary and Jake Matthews? The reason why I'm bringing this up is, if you don't know, Michael Penix is a lefty. And traditionally, as Sandra Bullock taught us in the opening minutes of The Blind Side, your left tackle is there to protect the blind side. Well, in this case, the blind side will fall on the right tackle. And Jake Matthews, without a question, is the better pass blocker. And 99 times out of 100, because there have been very few lefty quarterbacks in the NFL, you have your pass protecting tackle on the left and your run blocking tackle on the right. And that has fit the Falcons very well up until right about now, because now you have a lefty quarterback in Penix, and you may not want to task Kaleb McGary with blocking his blind side. Now, no one should think it's as simple as just you two swap places. No, everything is backwards when you ask a left tackle to go to right tackle and vice versa, right? Just think about these guys and how much technique they have for their position, trying to make sure that they don't give up an inch or give up a step or take an extra step against these pass rushers who have a plethora of moves. When you ask a left tackle to go to a right tackle, everything's different for them, right? Their first step back is now with a different leg. It throws off the timing. It throws off the rhythm. If you don't believe me, go and try to brush your teeth with your offhand. Like, it's going to be something like that for someone making a change. So I don't think switching things up for Penix's first game is probably the best idea. Yes, preferably in a perfect world, you have Matthews at right tackle. But asking the two guys to switch positions with 4 or 5 days notice, now you might have a rookie quarterback battling normal rookie issues and an offensive line that's a little bit out of sync, out of sorts, because they're not in their usual spots. So for this first game, I would not rock the boat too much. I'd keep Matthews at left tackle, McGary at right tackle, and maybe over the offseason, that's when you kind of start with a little bit more runway and more time making the switch if needed. But for now, I'd keep everyone in their usual spot. A couple of quick things to get to in just a moment here, but give me your score prediction for Sunday. Falcons versus New York Football Giants. I'm going to say Atlanta wins this one 24-7. The Giants are abysmal. They themselves are figuring out who their starting quarterback is, which I think it's going to be Drew Lock, but it's been a revolving door all season long, essentially, for the Giants. So I'll say Atlanta wins 24-7. I will also add this. I, too, am very excited for the Michael Penix era to kick off, right? Anytime your team uses a top 10 draft pick on a quarterback, there's always going to be a lot of excitement about what that guy can deliver, and the hope and promise and belief that they can be the next franchise quarterback. There are going to be rookie moments. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be bad plays. The reaction shouldn't be, this is one big disaster. Give Penix some time. After a couple of games, if we're not seeing improvements, then we can start to have a conversation about it. But for game one, that cannot be the big takeaway here. I do want to show some love to some recent super thanks that came in on the channel from Immersion FD. Great channel. Let's hope Kirk can get it together. Immersion, thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate it. This kind of makes me want to ask you guys watching, do you want the next video to be about what's next for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons? Or you're like, don't care, out of sight, out of mind, he's yesterday's news? Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do a video exploring Kirk Cousins trade options for the Falcons and whatnot. We also got super thanks coming in from Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much for your super thanks. Read an article where Gruden said maybe Morris knows something we don't know about Penix. Meaning, could this be another Trey Lance situation and Penix is just not actually good? Whenever former coaches or players leave the game and join the media, I'm always a little bit surprised by how quickly they just become their own worst enemy because when they were players and coaches, they hated when the media cooked up fabricated stories just based on their best guess, right? Coaches despise that. So I'm a little surprised to see Gruden kind of become his own worst enemy because as a coach, if he were Raheem Morris, he'd hate someone in the media saying this about him. So I'm not going to take this with a whole lot. I'm going to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. I don't believe that the resistance to turn to Penix was because of what Raheem Morris has seen in practice and fearing Cat's going to be out of the bag, Penix stinks, and everyone's going to know about it. And not only do we have a horrible quarterback signing with Kirk Cousins, we have a horrible top 10 draft pick with Michael Penix. I feel like the resistance to make the change was because Raheem Morris wanted Kirk Cousins, and turning to Michael Penix was just a simple acknowledgement of this was a failure. So unless Penix has been the worst quarterback in the history of NFL practices, I don't believe this is the case here. I think this is Gruden just kind of coming up with his own theory as to why it took so long to make this move, not because he knows or hears anything about this. Anthony, thank you so much for your super thanks, though. I also want to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us all season long. Make sure to join us for our future watch parties. Cooking something up for Sunday, so look forward to hopefully seeing you guys all there then. But if you want to be a part of the Dirty Birds Club, $100 super chat during our watch parties, and we'll add you to the crew. That will do it for us on today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give us a big thumbs up down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.